What's up? I'm Shox. We're going to be doing the Brood War Terran campaign. If you haven't played this game in a long time, this is what you're used to looking like. I'm going to give you a little walkthrough as to why it's going to look the way it looks today. So in 2017, they remastered it, gave it widescreen support, updated graphics like this, custom hotkeys, all that good stuff. On top of that, they also gave it support for custom skins sold through Blizzard. So we're going to be playing with the Carbot skin, aka the cartoon skin. Yeah. Because after 25 years, like we've all been wanting that cute StarCraft look. So, one thing about the category. So normally when you do a run of this game, it's measured in real time. There's cutscenes that play during the missions that completely freeze your game and take away your control. That takes up about 8 minutes and 30 seconds of the Terran campaign itself. For the sake of this run, the story's good, the voice acting's great. We're going to go ahead and just watch these cutscenes play out. My commentators, I got Peter on my right, Sonic on my left. I'm going to make a file, and I'm going to let them take it away.
Character name incentive. The classic.
The classic.
The class.
The classic.
All right. Where's the button at? Oh, is it just this?
What button are you pushing right now?
Is there a button I'm supposed to push?
Yep.
Okay. It's this one to my right, right? Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Nice. Woo! And we're off.
All right, so we have the first mission going off for Terran over here. Shox is going to immediately abandon this base right here because it is unfortunately missing gas. Gas is very important on this map because you want to upgrade siege mode for those tanks and probably get one more tank if necessary because the goal of this mission is to take out
of the Confederate Resistance Forces.
To take out Lieutenant Samir Duran.
I need to not interrupt, Duran, please.
And I'd like to offer you my services and skills in return for amnesty.
Intriguing. Lieutenant, you have absolutely no idea as to who we are or what we have come here to do. Why do you wish to side with us?
Because my men and I have sworn to fight against the Dominion and its Emperor. Seeing as how your forces have been laying into this Dominion.
Why does Duran have like a single eyebrow?
Why is he always angry?
I don't know.
I mean, they're both always angry.
Yeah.
It's Stukov. You can't even see his eyes.
Well, I possess intimate knowledge of the surrounding area.
This is like the beginning of an Among Us game where you already suspect someone before you even get into the first, round.
That's probably.
Captain, see that the lieutenant is given our full cooperation. We shall see if he's worth the effort.
Okay, so the goal of the mission is to take out a command center in the top left base. So you're given Duran, which is a hero ghost, and Shox is going to immediately send Duran over to that command center. This will chip away at the command center, and until Shox's reinforcements actually get there. The goal really is just to take out the command center, so Shox is going to not only start chipping away at it, but also block the reinforcements, or rather army, of the Red Terran, which is in the top left. Now you might think, why not just run to the top left? Well, there's a lot of units, as well as spider mines in the left side of the map, so he has to go around, which is a lot more efficient to not only gather this base, but also get this army.
Yeah, right you are, Sonic. So to give a little bit of background for what this run is going to look like, there's 8 independent missions. Completing the 8th one, well, completing all of them in sequence will be the end of the run. Things don't carry over from one to the next, so you don't have to, and this is going to sound very crass of me, but you don't have to care too much about any individual unit. I mean, they all have lives. They presumably have families and children back at home, but for our purposes, we're going to be treating them as expendable.
That's exactly right.
Hey, that's just the realities of war. That's just, it's kill or be killed.
So Shox is just running through his army to the top left because, as we mentioned, the goal is just to take that command center. So he does have some of his siege tanks, which is the majority of his damage, low health. The SCVs, which are the worker units for the Terran army, can repair mechanical units. So he brought over a couple of siege tanks to be able to repair these tanks so that they can siege mode and take out that command center.
Yeah, it's a subtle detail, but you can see the siege tank's health bars, and they're both in the red right now, which means they're both very close to being destroyed, which would slow this down considerably. So fortunately, oh man, it was a very fine detail, but Shox was able to repair one of the siege tanks just in the nick of time to prevent it from being destroyed. Probably ends up saving 10 or 15 seconds compared to if that tank had been destroyed. And now with the tanks in position, it's more or less waiting for about 5 to 10 more seconds.
Yeah, and you can see how important Duran was.
Or
in
not.
this.
Did he just get dropped? So one thing to know about the AI in this single player campaign in particular is it's RNG, but in a really weird way. Where and the command center burned down.
So there is a mechanic in this game where Terran buildings will, if they get to red health, they will start burning down. So Shox's goal in that regard was to get that command center down and then save Duran. Because if Duran actually if he falls, the mission ends right there.
That was actually unbelievably close to being a failure and him having to restart.
That was very close. So this mission is an unconventional mission. You're rather than being given a base, you're actually given like this set army right here with like 3 Mr. Potato Heads, right? So you're given multiple Mr. Potato Heads, and they just need to make it to these beacons right here, these glowing beacons. Once they get into that beacon, they're taught like a language really quickly, and then taught how to like fly a battle cruiser really quickly.
Yeah.
Like, I can still only say thank you, right? Off Duolingo, off this trip, right?
Yeah, well, these beacons are effectively like a Duolingo premium subscription.
That's true. So the entirety of this mission really isn't to take out any units, but rather to have Shox's units be cannon fodder for these potato heads so that they can actually get into these beacons.
Yeah, the ultimate showdown is going to be 12 enemy battle cruisers that you have to destroy. And you can imagine if you're trying to take on battle cruisers with, just simple Mr. Potato Heads, it's not going to go very well. You need to get them dressed up with all the accessories.
Exactly. So some people might have noticed that Shox is setting off a nuclear launch on his own army on the bottom left. This is to take out the additional Mr. Potato Head because it is no longer needed. You only need 2 of them because there's only 2 beacons in that stage. If you have any extra, then reinforcements do come in, and actually that wastes time. So he wants to take out the extra potato heads.
War is war. Man, a Marine is so needy.
So at this time, Shox actually has enough battle cruisers. Each one of the beacons attributes to 1 battle cruiser. Shox already has about 10 that he's ready to go into the final battle with. The final battle is coming up anytime now. So what Shox is doing is grouping up these battle cruisers to utilize their special ability, which is called the Yamato Cannon. It costs 150 energy, so they can only utilize that once. So Shox is grouping up the battle cruisers into 2 groups so he can fire off 2 Yamato cannons per 1 enemy battle cruiser.
Yeah, and this is a pretty high skill technical maneuver where professional StarCraft players would see what Shox is about to do, and they would tip their hat at this. Let's see this incredible display of micro.
Captain, we are being hailed by the Dominion flagship NORAD 3.
But we do have a break here.
Yeah, after
probably
this.
Probably a good time for a donation too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Advise you to back down now. I'm General Edmund Duke of the Dominion Armada, and in the name of Emperor Mengsk, I order you to surrender your forces immediately and unconditionally. General Duke, I expected your forces.
Oops, sorry about that.
You're so engrossed with the story.
I was distracted by General Duke's face.
yeah.
I apologize. We did have a $100 donation, though, from Tiny Tim saying, Hey y'all, donating for Shox and the amazing StarCraft run. This game is one of favorites, and it's amazing to see it live. Good luck with the run, and shout out to Into Space and Peter on commentary. Also, my good friend Tempest Mask. You are awesome. Cheers. Aw, thanks, Tim. You rock, man.
Watch Shox's fingers fly across the keyboard.
Does anyone else notice that the Command Center Commodore unit has no eyes in this mod?
Oh yeah, you're right.
He just has a mustache.
You know what I noticed? There used to be 12 enemy battlecruisers. Now there's 7. And I don't do too well with double digits, so that I can appreciate that.
He's also drinking a juice box, if you notice. You're looking at the battle, I'm looking at the portrait.
Yeah, no, I mean that's you got to keep in mind what's important. Can you tell what juice that is?
I don't know.
Yay!
Woo! All right.
At the start of this level, I do want to give a shout out to Thedorton, a fellow runner of this game, who recently got the vanilla Protoss world record. He helped a lot with this strat, particularly the Marine position in the top right that we're going to see that co-commentators will elaborate on in a bit, if they're not talking about juice.
Okay, so this mission is actually quite extensive. It's probably the most mechanical heavy mission. The reason why is because you're given 4 Zerg hives. These Zerg hives needs to be taken out. That is the goal. That's 4 separate Zerg bases. So Shox in the in order to save time, he has to multitask. Not only having high APM, but also opening up the outbox mailbox at the same time.
Yeah,
in order to complete that,
I mean, playing StarCraft doesn't require enough multitasking. If you're not also writing emails at the same time, you're not doing it right.
Exactly.
And now, Sonic, I just wanted to go back to what you said real quickly and make sure I understood. So you said that Shox is going to need to take out 4 Zerg hives at the same time. Now, when you say take out, you mean like take out on a date, or?
That's exactly not what I mean.
Exactly not. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, but I just figured, I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah. So there's several different.
So Shox is he sent Duran to the top right base. He's using Duran, who's a hero unit, as a durable army, a durable tank, and Duran would tank the shots for the army to follow up with and take out that hive. On the bottom left base, you can see Shox is already priming the bottom left base by taking out the spore colonies that are anti-air buildings by utilizing the engineering bay. The engineering bay is currently on a liftoff. No ground unit can see anything that's on a cliff that's above.
So the engineering bay is kind of like a spotter up
Exactly.
the sky. Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine yourself underneath that cliff. You can't see that building, right?
No, I couldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
maybe
tactical.
you could. You're pretty tall.
Yeah,
But
not that tall.
those Marines cannot. So you need that engineering bay to be able to spot that. So Shox has basically already dealt with the top right base as long as he doesn't move to the left too much. The army is not going to take out those Marines. He'll just whittle away at the hive.
Yeah, and so if one thing you might be wondering, why is Shox playing on this ridiculous skin, this Carbot mod? First of all, I mean, it looks great, right? But it is a little ridiculous. One of the reasons is that there's certain visual cues that he's using to place units in extremely precise positions. I'm not going to say they're pixel perfect, but I might say they're sub-pixel perfect. And those Marines in the upper right are one of those situations where if you move them a little bit too far to the left, then the Guardians, the defensive units there will see you and they'll come over and kill the Marines.
Yeah. Normally
So
I
this is it. He's going to put them in very precise positions.
Exactly. Normally I call out Peter for just making stuff up on the fly, but
So far, I've been pretty serious.
He's
so far.
been absolutely serious with that regard. Shox is
Just throwing Shox off his game because he's used to me making jokes. You can tell it's getting to him.
So as you can see on the bottom right base, Shox is setting up. He's blocking the Zerg ground army from advancing by using the 2 medics that are blocking either side and having a Marine on the other side. On the top left base as well, Shox has a factory which will produce about 2 to 3 siege tanks, and those tanks will siege up on top of that cliff and take out the hatchery. Surprisingly, the top left base, they don't send any units to attack this. So Shox can just lift off that factory and just have it up here
Yeah.
and take it out.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Exactly.
You don't know what you don't know. And the Zerg in this case didn't know about that factory.
Very profound.
Thanks. I'm just repeating what, corporate America, right? Look at the synergy that Shox is employing to diversify his... I can't do it. I can't bring myself to say that with the face.
That's a truly American attitude to bring America into a European marathon.
Right. However, hats off to the Swedes. In America, hotel bathroom, like the mirrors in the hotel bathrooms, I won't be able to see myself because they're like designed for people not that tall. But Swedes know what's up. I can see myself in every single mirror here. I'm very appreciative.
Very much appreciated. So Shox is really just whittling out these hatcheries. He brought Duran here because Duran, to achieve the goal of this mission, Duran has to step on that beacon, which actually leads to a disruptor. So as you can see, that disruptor building is fairly small on the map, right? Wouldn't you say? There's going to be some magic that happens later with that disruptor. So keep that in mind.
Saying it's an American disruptor, not a Swedish one.
I don't know what that means. But that
Right away. You got it.
I will say it's made in IKEA.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We've located the side disruptor.
And we'll see more, foreshadowing on mission number 7.
And no spoilers.
No spoilers. Is it really spoiling if the game is 25 years old?
No spoilers.
Okay, no spoilers, no spoilers. You're right.
Spoiling.
Captain, I'll be returning to the command ship.
Coming up on mission 4, I do want to give a shout out as well to Kasanka, another runner of this game. This game is 25 years old, like Peter just said, and this strat that I'm going to use is like literally new as within the last year. So.
Okay, so this mission's pretty interesting. You're given either 4 physics labs or 6 nuke silos. The concept is that whichever you take out, you're going to actually fight. You're going to fight the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
On the next mission, it splits off into a branch. It's like a choose your adventure.
Right.
book.
So if you destroy the physics labs, then you would face nukes in the next round, and if you destroy the nuclear silos, then you would face physics in the next mission, right?
Exactly. But the goal really is to just go on and take on the
Yeah.
nuke silos because it's actually faster, right?
Yeah, and so actually, I don't want to jump ahead too far, but after this mission, so this is mission 4, and after this is 5, and so there's like 5A and 5B for the decision, we were just talking about. So Shox is actually going to destroy the nuclear silos here, and then he wants to play against the nukes in the next mission because that's fastest. So you're going to see some menuing between this mission and the next one, and buckle your seatbelts if it was not already buckled because those menus go by so fast.
My seat is buckled.
Yeah, that's always my favorite part of the run.
Is it?
No.
Okay. So as you can see, Shox is taking out the advanced army that's currently defending the nuke silos because he needs to keep this siege tank alive. The siege tank's the only, aside from one more siege tank, is going to be really the only army that's taking out the nuke silos. So Shox is just being pretty careful, waiting for siege mode to complete so that he can actually start working on it. Surprisingly, the number of hits on the nuke silo, as well as the priority in order of which ones to target, was actually come up by a friend of ours who actually has his PhD in mathematics.
Applied mathematics. Yeah,
Yes,
and that's no
applied
joke.
mathematics.
That's actually true.
It sounds ridiculous, but it's actually true.
Yeah, and so this particular spot, so far, it can get a little wonky. Shox just destroyed 2 enemy siege tanks. It was very nice of the opponent to waltz the siege tanks right into range of Shox's own tanks so that he could destroy them. That doesn't always happen. The AI can go wonky and not do what you expect. That's just RNG. That's just up to the gods.
But to be fair, players do that as well.
Right. I mean, on Icy Cup.
Woo! All right, so we're just taking out these.
Yeah, so
big
actually,
fat-
so this is, now that the tanks are in position, these 6 nuclear silos are going to be destroyed. This would be a great time for a donation or two.
Abso-heckin-lutely. So I'll give a bit of a pun with this first one, a $5 donation from RKG Game that says, "This run is very epic. I was asked to go to war, and I just said, no tanks. But I appreciate the offer." And then we had a $20 donation from Little Panda saying, great work, Shox. Awesome to see you and the crew crushing it.
Nice.
What's up, little panda?
Thank you, Panda.
It looks like that's all we got for now, but I do want to remind everybody that we are raising money for Alzheimerfonden, which is the national Swedish fundraising organization focusing on Alzheimer's disease and other dementia-related diseases. And if you would like to chip in any amount of money that you can, because any donation is appreciated no matter how big or small, we have some links below, but you can also type !donate, and you know the rest.
Yeah. Here's the menuing.
Look at that
Whoa,
menu.
and you already missed it. Did you? I didn't.
I don't even know what happened.
I blinked. That's my favorite part of the run, and I missed it. Okay, so
People really applaud for that. Am I hearing correctly?
Okay, but you should applaud for this next part. This is a really interesting strategy. So like we said, because so he's fighting against nukes in this mission, right? Wouldn't it be nice if he could somehow prevent the nukes from being detonated? You're right. Yes, it would be. Oh, what luck. There is a strategy for doing this. So the way this mission is supposed to work is a bunch of random dropships with your units come in. So you get all this huge army right at the beginning, and then the nukes fall and destroy it, and you're sad. And then you spend the next 5 minutes building up an army from this one little, mineral patches, and then you destroy the enemy, whatever. Shox has
Peter,
a strategy. Yeah.
I had no clue nukes were coming. That's a spoiler.
You will soon, because it'll say nuclear launch detected, which is kind of like a spoiler, right? I don't know why they would say that.
You were ruining the mission for me.
If I were going to launch a nuke, I would not give advance warning, but I don't know. I'm not a nuclear commander or whatever. So these, Shox is placing these spider mines in very precise locations, and you can see some corpses just appear. Those corpses are from the enemies that are trying to launch the nukes.
As you can see, the reinforcement army right here.
And there's one more.
Oh, there's one more.
You can see a red dot blinking. This is going to be, a
tight.
little bit of improv. He's got to get away from that last one if he can. Yep, okay, no problem, no problem.
All good.
All good.
Not even close.
Yeah, cool strat.
So that reinforcement army, as Peter mentioned, is supposed to be nuked away. And then you have to rebuild your army slowly and then get a new
sorry,
army.
technically this was the enforcements. So you would have to build reinforcements if it were destroyed.
No, this
right?
would be the reinforcement.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
Because he already had.
Yeah, you're right.
You are rude. First spoiling?
Yeah,
So-
I don't know why this guy asked me to be a commentator. I play Zerg.
You were an extra.
Yeah.
So we have the Wraiths and the dropship right here. Shox is using the Wraiths as cannon fodder to distract the anti-air, because the goal is really to take out Jim Raynor's command center right here. He doesn't need to worry about anything else. He just needs to take out the command center, so he's only going to target that.
Yeah, and this is like one of those IQ tests, right? Where it's like you see 5 things, pick out the one that's different.
Yeah, I would have
Obviously,
failed
it's the one
that.
that's yellow. Yeah.
Emperor Minsk may be attempting an escape. Receiving
Now might be a kind of cool time, Shox. I don't know if you want to give the crowd a demo of what the graphics used to look like.
Yeah, so this is Emperor Minx. This is Minx. What he looks like in the original, and Dougal as well. And then we go to the Carbot mod.
We'll give another look at Minx real quick when he talks in his set.
Yeah, Minsk is really fun.
Minx is far more interesting.
You really like Minx, don't you?
As long as you have, you are indeed a worthy opponent.
Here's Minx in 1998. Here's him in 2023.
I think that's an upgrade, right?
And most notably, they put his eyebrows on top of the bangs of his hair. Pretty impressive.
You don't style your hair like that?
No, I usually keep my eyebrows attached to my skin. But I'm kind of weird like that, I guess.
And on that note, it might be a good time for more donations.
Yeah.
The man who crowns himself emperor speaks to me of daring.
Or we can also listen to this epic voice acting from 1998.
Yeah. Look at
Which
Duval's
still holds up.
eyebrow.
The StarCraft campaign story is
You'll have
pretty
to
good.
postpone those plans, gentlemen.
Sir, the rebel command ship Hyperion has just
Baby
entered
Rainer
our
makes an
sensor
appearance.
range. It is
Yeah.
accompanied by a small Protoss fleet.
What? Who are these intruders?
Jim Raynor. What the hell are
You gotta wonder who let Jim Raynor
I'm pulling your
into
ass
this
out of
battle. He's like a.
He's got the little T-Rex arms.
He's like the 3-year-old.
They're like vestigial arms. Like they can't be good for anything.
For right now, a mutual
Why does he have
agreement
such a
laws
deep
once you
voice?
arrive. Prepare your ships for dimensional.
I don't know, man. Cool tongue.
Yeah.
It's intolerable. They're escaping right out from under us. Track them. Track them.
Okay. So that is that
Nice.
mission right there.
So mission number 6. This is going to be our introduction to the Valkyrie. So Shox is playing ostensibly StarCraft Brood War, the expansion pack, or like as the Zoomers would say, the DLC. This was kind of like the DLC before you could DL it, because it came on a CD. Which go look that up on Wikipedia. So the Valkyrie was a new unit, and this is kind of a showcase. Oh, it's very good against enemy air units. You know, it does splash damage. It destroys a lot of things. Very cool. There's actually in before StarCraft Remastered was released in what was it, 2017? Before that, Valkyries were not often used in like competitive matches because you can see all the different particles called sprites flying across the screen. And in the original StarCraft, there was a limit on how many of those could be on the screen. So if you reach that limit, the Valkyrie just stops firing.
Exactly.
It's completely useless. They called that the sprite limit, which was fixed with StarCraft Remastered. Now, on a similar note, when I was growing up, my parents instituted the sprite limit in my household, which was I could only drink 1 sprite per day. And you can see I don't hold a grudge.
Nice. That's where you learn those dad jokes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you can see, Shox went a specific route to come to this mission because the goal is really just to take this command center out again.
I'm noticing a theme.
Exactly.
Yeah. Recurring pattern.
And the concept, the highlight of this is if you don't touch the Protoss buildings, they will not care.
Yeah, Blue is
actually.
literally AFK right now.
Yeah.
This is the team that you don't want in the games that you play online.
Yeah, they don't care.
That is destroyed. But it looks like Mengsk
So you might look at this screen and be like, this is not very eventful. There's just one building on the right side. Well, there's actually supposed to be a warp gate in a lot of buildings on this screen. But that is just
What
a
happened?
bug. That is,
Bug,
that is a
yeah.
bug.
Yeah. Wait, and that was introduced in StarCraft Remastered, right? For real.
Maybe?
I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, right?
Don't show any zag.
Granted,
Maybe you
considering
have
who.
technical
Anyway, yeah, we'll move on.
equipment.
Everyone loves Blizzard.
Lieutenant, if these Zerg get through, we'll never be able
This is a good time. Good
Yeah.
time for messages.
All right, sounds like a plan because we've got quite a few coming in. We'll start with a $50 donation from Zero CRN saying, "Yo, good luck, Shox."
I couldn't make out
We also
that
had
much.
$100 from Dabu. Woo! Who asks, can we get a multiplayer bonus match? Yeah, it doesn't seem likely. $5 from Nautilus Maximus. No comment, but thank you very much. And then Zeta2 also gives $100
Your forces are under attack.
and simply says, StarCraft is my all-time favorite game and played a big role in my early gamer years. The excellent soundtrack and voice lines will forever be burned in my mind. Love to see it run at ESA. Thanks to the runner and commentators for a fantastic run.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And they're right there at the end. You saw the warp gate, and there was some other stuff. That all was supposed to be there earlier.
Yeah, that's
but-
called warp gate technology.
Right. I mean,
Protoss.
which you never know which came first, the warp gate or the I don't know, just
The Protoss.
something.
The
Yeah.
race.
A probe. Well, I guess a probe would have to warp in a warp gate, but then what warped in the probe, right?
Captain, how can I
Very nice. Very profound.
You'll be wondering about that when you're falling asleep tonight. You'll be trying to figure that out.
I'm trying to figure this out. Remember what I said? Remember that magic earlier with the disruptor?
I do.
So we're inside it.
We're inside. No.
Yeah.
We're inside it now?
We're inside it. It looked
Wow.
a lot smaller outside
Yeah.
than it did on the inside. How do you explain that? You can't.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is like Psi Disruptor in Texas, right? Texas-sized Psi Disruptor, right?
What does that mean?
I'm an American. I just talk about America. I'm sorry.
All right, so well, the goal of this mission, just to not get sidetracked, is that it's split up into two parts. So the first part is to get our good friend Duran, who's very angry for some reason, to find Stukov. And the second half we'll talk about, but really the first part is just to find his good friend Stukov.
And I feel like if you notice, Duran is going straight for him. This kind of gives me like flashbacks to playing Among Us, you know, right away at the beginning of the round, someone runs straight at you. It's terrifying, right? And like, you know, they try to pass it off. Oh, I was going to do wiring or something, but you know that they were trying to kill you, right?
So is Stukov on cams right now?
Yeah, Stukov is on cams.
Okay.
Which yeah.
And so the first part of the goal, like we mentioned, is to get Duran to Stukov. So the additional units that comes with Duran are all expendable. They're actually not necessary to live.
Yeah, and we checked, and those ones don't have families back home, so it's
Yeah.
not much of a tragedy to have lost them.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
We did our homework.
This gun that he destroyed right there, those can actually do quite a bit of damage, so it's...
Yeah, he had to take out one at least so that he could live off the two, and now he has to chill out for a bit because he needs to get enough ability or energy to cloak past this 3-stack.
So this is the camera room coming up.
Yeah, this is the cam room. Stukov is watching cams.
Yeah. And you'll see that Stukov knew he was coming.
Well, he was on cams.
Right, he was on cams.
I'd hope he knew that.
See? I'm not surprised.
Might be a good time for a couple messages.
Absolutely, because we've had a few more coming in. We got a lot of donations coming in for this run. Thank you so much, everybody. So we'll start with a no comment but $20 donation from, and I do apologize if I mispronounced this, Masayiko. Thank you so much. We also got Foospup giving $20 saying, loving the run. Keep up the great work on the run, Shocks. Commentators are killing it. There was also a $5 donation from a particular username saying, Gurumin at ESA when. And then, last but certainly not least, a $5 donation from the wonderful Killer Chair. Loving the strategy, the skills, the cartooniness. Go Shocks, go! And, of course, for the swarm!
Yeah, unlike in Among Us, at least Stukov gets a chance to talk after he was killed.
Yeah, he gets an inner monologue.
Right, yeah, the soliloquy of Stukov, which wasn't written by Shakespeare, but if he were alive today, he'd probably be like, oh, this is good writing, you know?
It's not bad.
Doesn't have enough like thous and these and stuff, but still good.
Shakespeare's not American. I'm surprised that's your reference on this one.
Wait, Shakespeare wasn't American? Oh, my whole life is a lie.
The lieutenant no longer.
All right, so at this point, we find out that
appears to have vanished.
Duran is apparently sus.
Yeah, he vanished, so you can actually see there's a little vent right up there if you look really closely.
Sir, the
But
disruptor's
this is
power
back in
has
1998,
just
so they didn't
set
know
to
about
the
venting after
In order
kills.
to prevent meltdown, you'll
That's
need
true.
to reach
Yeah.
the
So now the second part of the mission actually happens, which is Shox needs to make a beeline for the exit at this point. The disruptor is on a self-destruct sequence, and Shox has to get out of the disruptor as fast as possible.
Yeah, and like other stages, He only needs to get one unit to the final beacon
Yep.
to trigger the end of the level.
Which
So
is, it's difficult because the second section has a lot of the RNG elements to it in the sense that sometimes Zerg will not cooperate. They'll hug you to death.
I mean, they're so cute.
I mean, yeah, in this Carbot mod, they are cute. Like Zerglings and the Ultralists, as you'll see them, they're very cute.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying Zerg is the cutest race for 25 years. People didn't believe me until the Carbot mod came out, and then like, oh, I see what you mean. We'll see it especially with the Ultralisks up here in the next room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your forces are under attack.
right up here. They're
Yeah,
hanging
there
out
they
on the
are.
low ground.
Very huggable. Very huggable.
Very huggable. You can't say the same when looking at the old mod, though.
They
Or
must
the old.
pay a fortune in dental work, right?
That's true.
State the nature of your medical emergency.
So the goal over here is really just to run past these Zerg units.
Give them their hugs on the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give them the hugs on the way. They will block
Actual
you.
hug.
These turrets will actually fight the Zerg. So Shox just needs to run around. They will take aggro, and Shox just needs to run past. So it's very convenient
Yeah.
that someone else will do the hard work, and Shox will just run past.
Your forces are under attack.
Something America right there, probably.
Exactly.
Something America. All right, Hydralisks are smart. They
Yeah.
they see an enemy and actually attack it.
State the nature of your medical emergency.
It's going to get a little difficult over here because Shox needs to run past those units, and then get past to these because he needs to fight on top of this set of stairs over here.
This is actually a legitimate tactical engagement where you saw Shox bring some of the troops in the front towards the back, which is causing the Hydralisks on the low ground to kind of bunch up in a small area, which lets Shox exploit their. It's like it's a concave. Having a good concave is what we say in ranged unit engagements.
Yep.
The nature of your medical emergency.
And then now it's pretty much a mad dash to the finish. This is a pretty good amount of Marines to have 10 Marines here. Pretty solid. There's going to be some Zerglings that just literally pop out of nowhere.
Forces are
Yeah, and they can't just
Nice.
they can't just block. They can't just block you.
And getting through with seven, this is pretty consistent. Sometimes, depending on RNG AI, you'll have only 2 or 3 left, and then this room can be really scary. But with 7, nice, and he gets one through.
Excellent.
Well done. Yeah.
You only need to
Clap
get
for
one
that.
through.
And he only did get one through
Well, that's all that's important.
with 5 HP left.
reactor core
That's all that's
shutdown
important.
sequence initiated.
Good work.
Yeah, just enough armor, which is the armor upgrades.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Make sure he lived.
Yeah, okay, so it wasn't that close. He could take one more hit
Leave a garrison
Yeah.
before dying. Yeah.
as well.
And now, if we have any more donations, now would be a good time to do a little more.
Claim that
Well, at the moment, we do not seem to have gotten any recent donations, but I think this would actually be a pretty good time to mention that we do got quite a bit of incentives going on, as well as bid wars, which I know that we got Goat Yoga going on for Goat Simulator 3, which is actually going to be the next run right after this. And of course, we need to reach $1,500 in order to have that happen. Now, we are currently sitting at $405, but I believe in the power of chat. I know you all can do this, so don't let me down.
Yeah, and I believe in the power of goats.
Absolutely.
So let's do this.
And for that same run, too, we've also got a bit of a bid war for the minigame choice, which is between Head Splat and The Floor is Lava. Head Splat is currently winning by $21.37, but, of course, that is a lead that I think can easily change if someone so desires. So let's see that happen, folks. Of course, the exclamation point donate command will get you some links, but we also got a couple below. And remember, it's all going to a wonderful cause. So let's fight Alzheimer's together.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, so this mission is the final mission. In this mission, Shox needs to. There is a hive mine, or rather an overmine, on the top right side of the map, Shox needs to take 4 medics and land them onto each one of the beacons, because if anybody plays Demon Souls, they essentially need to lull the beast to sleep, right?
Right.
And so Shox needs to get those 4 medics into those 4 bases, or 4 beacons. So he needs to make a couple drop ships and have probably about 8 medics, I want to say.
He usually does like 4 Marines, 8 medics, 4 SCVs, something like that. Can be a little flexible. The only hard requirement is that you get 1 medic on each of the 4 beacons. And Sonic, can you remind me, once the medics are on the beacons, what do?
They lull it to sleep.
They lull it to sleep, that's right.
Yeah.
Add-on complete.
I didn't know, I know that medics had, you got healing, you got restoration, you got optical flare. Those are kind of the 3 spells that medics are most well known for, but lulling to sleep, that's one you need like the secret hotkey to activate that ability, I guess.
No, you got to purchase that.
That sounds like the Blizzard I know in the year 2023.
So as we can see, the engineering bay that was blown off actually has a purpose. It is not just flying out into the abyss by itself. What Shox is going to do is he's going to take that aggro off the spore colony that's actually going to be right there, so that Shox can actually get the dropships past it. Without doing that, then he's actually going to lose 1 dropship, and then this mission will no longer be possible. It's going to require a lot of micro-intensive maneuvering to be able to land the units as well as get them into the beacon.
Yeah, this is kind of the last hurrah. It's kind of funny. One of the dropships just got parasited by the enemy, which doesn't matter for this at all. But that's just kind of like a, hey, I'm watching you, even though the AI has perfect information anyway. Here's the last big maneuver.
Dropping the Marines to take out the.
Here's the 4 beacons.
Scourge.
It's got to get 1 medic in each of them.
They turn white when you got them, so 3 of them, and there's the 4th.
Nice, you got it first try.
That can be a lot more difficult than you think.
So now we've got a few more little cutscenes, a little bit more dialogue, but Shox is basically done with all the hard stuff.
Or basically everything. I mean, we just
Or everything, yeah. You could still be spamming clicks to get your APM higher,
That's true.
but
That's true.
Excuse me, Admiral, but I'd like to introduce someone to you.
So this is the cutscene where we're introduced to Sarah Kerrigan.
Right.
Infested Sarah Kerrigan.
Does she keep her first name when she becomes a Zerg?
No, she changes it to Infested.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
Doesn't she look more menacing in this Carbot mod than the original?
she does.
Like, she does not look that menacing. Looks like a twisted Sonic
eyes.
over here.
You see, Admiral,
She does.
there are a number of groups in this sector who feel that
Yeah, I feel like the original Kerrigan, you look at her, you're like, okay, I guess she's kind of scary. This one is like, I don't want to be in the same room as her. I feel like her eyes are peering through the screen into my soul.
The same thing with Jim Raynor, right?
I get a little bit of a different vibe from Baby Jim.
Baby Jim.
Yeah.
It won't last you forever, Admiral.
Time is coming up at the end of this dialogue when the victory screen pops up.
Then I'll show you what the Zerg are really capable of. Oh, and by the way, Admiral, your friend Stukov was twice the man you are. I'm glad you saved me the trouble of having
Gotta
to kill
hurt.
him.
And time.
Nice.
There's a 2.5 post-victory movie. Can we watch that? 2.5 minutes. Sure, we'll go for it.
Zerg! The very mention of this terrifying race once brought fear to all who heard it. But now we can all rest easy, as our own forces now occupy their very homeworld of Char. Months have passed since our initial confrontation with the Zerg, and now Directorate forces have taken control of the planet Char, long since rumored to cradle the malevolent overmind of the Zerg. The overmind itself, an enormous living brain-like entity, dictates control of all the myriad Zerg forces, and it was believed to be planning an invasion of the Earth itself. Once on the offensive, our highly trained Directorate forces were more than a match for the beast-like Zerg. Even their fiercest warrior breed could not defeat the greatest military technology in the galaxy. The Zerg forces on Char were completely decimated and their losses were tallied in the millions. But all wars have casualties, and while Directorate losses were minimal, the fleet's Vice Admiral Stukov gave his life during the final valiant assault on Char.
He was crew, confirmed.
Yep, crew confirmed.
Memorial services were held aboard the Directorate flagship Alexander. Vice Admiral Stukov truly knew the meaning of sacrifice. Yet his sacrifice was not in vain. The Overmind itself was the prize of the battle. Even now, Directorate psychics and powerful drugs are keeping the creature pacified. The Overmind will undergo extensive research to ensure the continued safety of the United Earth Directorate and of all mankind.
Nice.
Nice.
I want to give a couple of shout outs. One to Freezer, he's basically the godfather of StarCraft speedrunning. One to the RTS Speedrunners Discord. If you want to do something like this, find that place and hit it up. Shout out to BSB, and thank you so much, ESA, for letting us be a part of this, and let's keep raising money for this great cause.
Thank you so much, Shox, for the amazing run. We do have a couple more donations for you. A $20 donation from Boglore saying, wow, StarCraft looks very different to how I remember it. And then lastly, Colonel New Jersey, or Colonel NJ, is giving $10 and saying, enough for a bottle of the good stuff to pour one out for all the poor Marines. Go Shox, sacrifice to get a better time. We salute ye. All right, thank you so much. And as we are about to move on to our Goat Simulator 3 run with Rekelt and Lord Mouse, that's going to do it for my donation reading shift for now, but I am going to pass it on over to the wonderful LeVar. So stay tuned, friends. We'll be back with you very shortly.